So yeah, kind of sad news. I was really looking forward to this track event coming up. It's next week. I had to cancel it literally today. I guess I could have still gone through with it, but we'll go into what issue I ran into. But kind of a little bit of background if you've been watching my channel. If you haven't, just a quick summation. Then this is a GC8. It's actually a GM5. If I read the GM6, not a GM6, GM5. If I read the side there, it's older coupe and Subaru coupe, and it has a EJ207 STI motor in it, a version 8. So basically an '03 to '05 STI motor from Japan. 2-liter, put out the same amount of power that we got here with the 2.5 liters, and a 6-speed and all that. So I got this motor in last year, a little over a year ago actually. Installed it after doing all the seals, spark plugs, timing belts, all that, the oil pickup, the baffle, all the stuff. I've been doing Subaru builds for a while, took a little hiatus, but then came back. So I know what these things need for the most part, and did all that and then put the motor in. About a couple weeks later, as I was going through the e-tune process, I do e-tunes because I like to be kind of hands-on with the tuner with that. And it's a slower process, but you learn more as you kind of go. About 2 weeks in, I noticed a bad hiccup, about 3,000 to 4,000 RPMs. It would like hesitate quite a bit and then continue through the RPM range. A little bit of white smoke at the back during that same time, and then bubbling in the coolant reservoir. All three of those telltale signs of, you guessed it, head gasket, as Subarus have that bad rap, I guess. So, I mean, this was a used motor. I bought it off eBay. So I was able to, it was still like within the return window. I was able to kind of warranty it with them and get some money for the head gasket job that I had to do. So I pulled the motor out. Basically, pretty much everything was paid for. It was just my time that I kind of put into it. Replaced the head gaskets, got the heads decked, and then put in ARP head studs. Did all that stuff. And also the valve clearances, I noticed as I put everything back together, some were a little bit tight, so I checked everything and replaced some of the valve buckets. Got everything within spec. Everything looked great. There was one issue that I kind of ignored and just kind of pushed through, and that's the issue that we'll talk about here. But before, I'll tell you the symptoms that I'm seeing now. So I still see kind of a hiccup. Some people have felt it, some people haven't that have ridden in my car. Right around, it's lower, it's very minute, from about 2,500 to about 3,000 RPMs. You shouldn't really be pushing it hard there, but like maybe up a hill or 15-20% throttle, like a daily driving throttle. You kind of, maybe a little bit of hiccup comes and goes. It's definitely less prevalent on E85 kind of thing. I went through a whole bunch of stuff to kind of replace that. Worked with the tuner, got new coil packs, replaced the wiring harness, grounds, all of it. Went through a whole bunch of stuff, fuel pressure regulator. The fuel pressure regulator helped a little bit, to be honest, because I thought it was kind of like a fuel stumble that maybe some of these newer ones experience. Rails I was going to do, but I was like, I don't think it's a fuel issue anymore because I kind of know what it is. And I'll go in. And the other symptom I was kind of saying, it's a very rare hiccup above 3,000 RPMs, 3,000 to 8,000 RPMs, drives like a dream. Again, took it to the track, ran beautifully, never overheats, never gets hot, never does anything. Just that's the only real symptoms that you'll see. So about 2 weeks ago, I noticed as I was like kind of dogging the piss out of the car, getting it ready for the track, because again, it was this week or next week that I was going to go. I took it hard from like second gear to like fifth gear about 2 or 3 times straight in a row, just to kind of, because that's the track, you're going to be doing that quite a bit. And then pulled in. Notice I had pushed a little bit of coolant out the reservoir. You may be able to see the reservoir. It's a black piece up there on the other side of the intercooler hose, over by the fuse panel. Pushed it just a little bit of coolant came out the top. I was like, that's kind of, maybe I overflowed the coolant, or maybe overfilled it. Maybe there's air in the coolant. Maybe the radiator cap's bad. So burped it, replaced the radiator cap, took a little bit of coolant out of the reservoir. Then steady monitoring, right? Steady monitoring. Everything looked all right. And then yesterday noticed, as I did that same pull again, I've been doing it for a couple weeks, didn't do it as much either, just 2 times, I think, going from second to fifth, and then came back here. Noticed bubbling in that reservoir. And bubbling is not a good sign. Bubbling in the reservoir is air coming in to the coolant from someplace. This is kind of the same issue that I saw before when I took the motor out when I first got it, right? You're like, hey, you replaced it. I replaced the head gaskets though. I did the head studs. I decked the heads. Everything. Look at why is there, the head gasket? The head gasket is screwed. I haven't taken the motor out, but I haven't even done any tests. Well, besides compression, leak down, those come back perfect. And you can still have bad head gasket with that. It's even the test for combustion gas, inconclusive. I don't see any, it doesn't change color with the test that you do for that. I know the head gasket is not the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. And I feel like a lot of people don't really go into this too much. And that is that the block that the head's attached to is warped. And again, it's the car's still drivable. Most people wouldn't even notice the hiccup. If I lower the coolant in the overflow pretty low, it'll never I can take it to the track if I wanted to. I just don't want it to be a bad experience at the track where it just gets worse and worse and worse. It's going to steadily get worse and then overheat, right? Because it's going to just eat away at the head gasket. And the reason I know the block is warped is because when I was putting everything back together the first time, I obviously got the heads decked. I didn't deck them myself. Took them to machine shop, perfectly flat. Kind of cleaned up the block. And when I was doing that, I bought a flat edge, or I had a flat edge, and I was using feeler gauges to check. I was like, there's no way this is warped, but let me just check. And it was just outside or right at Subaru spec in the middle of the block on the passenger side. So in between the two cylinders, kind of where they connect. And the problem, I knew it was something that I was going to have to come back to, because obviously that doesn't go away. It's not something that will fix itself. With a warped block though, the only real way to fix that is to deck it, right? Machine it. And you can do that, but I wouldn't recommend doing that with everything installed. So the pistons, the everything would need to come out. You need to completely disassemble the lower end of the block. And I thought, if I'm going that far, I would just replace everything, right? Replace all the pistons, everything. And I was like, well, if I'm doing that, why would I even stay with this block, right? Why not just buy it? So I was like, I'm just going to run this block. I could go down a rabbit hole of doing all that, even though it's just right there at spec or right outside. Or I could, I'm just getting my feet wet at the track. It's probably a good way to start that. Maybe I'll have a couple years. Obviously, I didn't have a couple years. I had just under a year. I guess I have more time. I could still go. I'm just not going to. I don't want to go through that. But so that's the reason I didn't deck the block while it was out. I had the block entirely out. I could have done that. I could have taken it apart. It just would have been, there's no reason to not sink more money into that. And the plan was to buy after a couple years, or after a year, right around this time, which I'm going to have to now anyway, but was to buy a spare block, which was the W20C. And I'll show pictures here, but W20C is an EJ207 block that is really thick, extremely thick cylinder walls. Again, it's only on the 207. It actually came on the JDM STI 2015 models. They were still making the 207 while we were getting the 2.5 liter over here, the crap motor. It's not crap. I just don't like it. I know a lot of people love it, IAG and all that. But they were still getting the 207 over in Japan, producing the same amount of power, if not more power, with less displacement. They just kept on building that block up. It's super awesome. So that block is about $2,000. So I would have to buy that block. It comes assembled with pistons, everything in it. You just have to install, I think, an oil pump. It doesn't come with an oil pump, obviously, the crank gear, and then the water pump. And you can just pull your heads on it and be good. So the reason I know that this is my issue, right? And obviously I just said it, you're probably like, when I was putting everything back together, I consulted a few people because I had never seen this before, and I'd put together quite a few blocks. Was the passenger side exhaust cam gear, when I had torqued everything, the ARP headsets down to spec, was a little bit tighter, harder to spin than the rest of the cam gears. You notice they were, you could spin them with one finger. That one you had to do 2 fingers. It was not oh my God, you can't turn it. It was just a little bit harder and a little bit concerning to me. And that makes sense considering the lower portion of that was where it was warped. So what was happening was the head was decked, machined, and it was completely flat. The deck or the block was not. So obviously I'm exaggerating. This is the block and this is the head. It was going to it, and then once I bolted it down, it would bend in. So it would cause that what was supposed to be flat cam surface to be a little bit bent. I was able to clean it up quite a bit with just, I'm going to say clean it up, but take not a lot, very, very, because you don't want to take really any off of the cam caps, just like a Brillo pad, just a very light Brilloing. It still didn't spin as freely as the others. It probably doesn't still to this day, but it spun to where I was comfortable, right? So I put everything back together and kind of ran with it. Check the valve clearances as well, or the clearances between the camshaft and the buckets. Everything was within spec. It was perfectly fine. Checked it later. Everything was within spec. So I know it's not, it wasn't like causing everything to be honest. It was a minor amount. But that issue now is causing the head. I actually literally saw like a little bit of head gasket material, like a little bit of like black specks. You'll notice head gasket material in the overflow tank up here, the reservoir tank up here, the other day. Like I literally saw, and I was like, yeah. So the head gasket is going to go, and it's a brand new head gasket. Again, it's only been in for 9 months. Again, concerning. I don't think a lot of people talk about it. I think a lot of people either overheat or have and do exactly what I did. The head studs, the head gasket, and deck the heads. But either A, are in the same boat as me. Like I don't want to deck the block because maybe don't even check it, but just clean it up and send it, right? Because you're not going to notice that by looking at it, the warpage that I'm talking about, the minute amount, or you just don't have time or money for it. So I just want to get it out there. Like I know a lot of people, builders will know that to check that, and it's wise to just. That's why if you do that, if I did that far anyway, I just replaced it. It just makes sense to replace the short block with the amount of time and money you'd put into it. You get more out of a W20C block. So that was the plan. Anyway, I just have to kind of speed that up, and it's kind of disappointing, to be honest, just because if you watch my videos prior to this, I've said this, it's not really like you see the car here, but it's never really like a show off kind of look what I got kind of channel. It's more of like a how-to or like things that other people maybe haven't done, or they're not as well documented. Like the turbo, I didn't see anywhere. You can see that was like I'm running, and people still don't believe me. A lot of people don't until they get into the car and feel it. But that the VF series with 400 horsepower, people don't believe me because it's never really done. The 207 is rarely done. In my mind, it's just not done as much as it could be done or should be done. And there's a lot of one-offs, like 3D printed stuff here or there. The point is that I like tinkering. I like the channel showing people how to do stuff. I was getting so many questions from people either seeing my car, this car, or the several other ones I've had before this, seeing me on the street, friends, just, do you remember this build, how you did this? Like, what? It was just easier to document stuff, right? To get questions asked and just put this out there and help the community out, because I've been in the community for a while, and I wish that there were people that kind of ran the gamut, right? That it was one of those things where not just the same stuff over and over again, but different stuff where I was thinking about doing this. Has anyone ever done this? I want to get those kind of like one-offs out of there, right? And not just the one-offs, obviously other stuff as well, and documenting my track and build experience for my wife and daughter, because they want to know that I'm passionate about stuff, or I want to show them that I'm passionate about stuff other than just them and family. So they know, but my daughter, maybe when she gets a little bit older, will get more interested in the stuff. And I'd love, if God forbid anything happens to me, that she could see this stuff and maybe kind of move on with the car from there. So the reason I bring that up though is because I like tinkering. Like the content I create is tinkering stuff. It's rare that it is driving stuff. I do have some driving stuff on there, but because I love tinkering so much, like 90% of the time, I'd prefer used to prefer to tinker and 10% driving, right? And then it slowly got to the point where it's like 50-50 now. Like I thoroughly enjoy driving the car and modifying it to and tinkering with it based off what I'm feeling, not just, I've done this before or people recommended this, because I think we're all kind of guilty of that, right? Like I've done this in the past and it worked for me. but this is different than what I've normally done, or people who have recommended this, different strokes for different folks, right? So, I mean, we can get into like a debate on tire pressure at the track, right? And different people will run different tire pressure and swear by it, and other people will swear by a lower or higher tire pressure, and that's something minute. You can imagine the bigger things when we're talking about modifying a car. It's just that I love the feedback loop, which is it's not just tinkering, it's tinkering because, I'm realizing something as I'm driving. This was off, or I'm noticing, when I brake, the back end has a tendency to kick out a little bit more than I'd like when I'm on heavy trail. Like, what do we do? So it's tinkering and doing all that. Driving has become more and more fun. So it's sad that I'm going back to the tinkering because I got to pull the motor out. But it'll be for the best. I was coming out here, and like before I got this motor maybe a year ago, I come out here, I grab the socket wrench right away and kind of go to town. Now I come out here and it's like socket wrench or keys. Like, what am I doing? Like, am I going for a drive, or am I going to tinker with it? So, still drive it. It's not overheating. It's not doing anything crazy. It's still drivable. I have some suspension work to do to get ready. I don't know if I'll be able to participate in any events before the end of the year, because it's gonna be kind of tight. I got a whole list of other things to do, not with the car, but just in life. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Kind of morose a little bit here. It's my own fault. I know what's happening with this. I should have attacked it sooner, but it was one of those things where I was kind of excited and just wanted to get it into the car. Honestly, I don't really have any regrets with it because I didn't hurt anything. Nothing's hurt by doing this. The car isn't overheated. It's not like I can reuse the heads with the block. Everything is going to be shoved on probably, because the new heads the big port heads are incredibly expensive, but way more than the block. But I appreciate you guys watching this. Subscribe. I will definitely I will definitely post when I get the block in and just building kind of the EJ207 up. It won't be going deep. It'll be, because the block will be assembled, right? It'll be kind of putting everything together and then putting it into the car and then kind of going from there and giving her new life. Kind of having a spare in the background, like we have a spare of everything. But thanks, guys.